As tech ages, it is often left behind. You might get a laptop or some other machine, use it for a few years until it starts to be too slow, and then upgrade to a shiny new one. At that point, the old one ends up gathering dust on a shelf or in a drawer, or even worse, just gets thrown away. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be this way. Many of these older machines may not be that powerful now, but they're still perfectly fine to use for just going in a browser or other light tasks. So today I want to show you how we can go from an old sluggish Windows machine to a smooth and perfectly usable one running Linux Mint on an SSD. Before doing any of the setup for it, I want to give you an idea of the difference this can make. For reference, the HP laptop here has a 3rd Gen i3 processor and 4GB of RAM. And we have a spinning hard drive in here with a fresh install of Windows 10 since I suspect that is what most people would be using. The tests I run are really simple. Just time how long it takes for it to boot up, launch the file explorer and get into a browser. Firefox in this case. I repeated that same test 4 times on both Windows and Linux. Booting took about 30 seconds for 3 of the Windows tests, but almost an entire minute for the last one. It is not horrible, but that variance is what ends up making a machine like this feel slow, if all of a sudden it decides to take double the time for no apparent reason. Linux Mint on the SSD by comparison booted up in 25 seconds every single time. To add to that, the inconsistency of the hard drive becomes even more noticeable when it comes to opening the file explorer. The times are kind of all over the place, every test had a bit of a different time, from as low as under 3 seconds all the way to almost 17. On Linux Mint though, the file explorer launches in a second, all the time. And finally, the browser on Windows launched starting from almost 9 seconds all the way to almost 18. And on Linux Mint it launched in 2 seconds. So if this is convincing enough to you, let's see how we get to this point. To start, one of the biggest factors in why these old laptops are extremely slow are the storage drives they use. They often have these small spinning drives in them which honestly are just awful. They are really slow, especially when it comes to random reads, meaning that for running an operating system they tend to fall far behind. So one of the best upgrades you can do is switch them out with a modern solid state drive. These are not all that expensive, and even the cheapest one you can find should be a lot more responsive and a lot nicer to use than a hard drive. Switching them out is usually an easy process, but you will need to look up exactly how to do it for your specific device. Here for me, I just slid the switch to release the battery and just undid one screw to let the cover slide away. Right there we have the drive. I just took it out and unplugged it, then I put the new SSD in. It goes in the exact same way. Now we just put everything back and that part is done. Now with our fresh drive it is time to just put Linux Mint on it. While the SSD will already give the system a significant speed boost, the neat thing is that Mint should be a lot lighter on resources than Windows 10 was, so it serves to further make the laptop better to use. To install it, we can go to their website and download the ISO file for it, and use a program like Balena Etcher to put it on a USB drive. Then that goes into the laptop and we tell it to boot from it. Next up, it loads into the live environment. The neat thing is that this lets you try out the OS. You can go online, try the included software and get a general feel for what it feels like. Keep in mind though, this is running off of a USB drive, so it will be a lot slower than when you install it properly. When you are ready to do that, you can just click the icon on the desktop and it will guide you from there. We set the language and keyboard type and then we get to the internet connection menu. Afterwards we get the option to install the multimedia codecs, which I checked, and I chose the option to erase disk and install Mint. Lastly, all that's left to do is set the time zone and details like username and password. You can also choose to have it boot without the password, which is really convenient. Then we just gotta wait for it to get installed and reboot. And well, that is it. This is a fully working system ready to use. This is also really easy to get a grasp of. By default we have a bunch of programs, pretty much whatever you would expect to find, as well as LibreOffice, which is a free alternative to what Microsoft Office offers. From my experience they are pretty solid, but you would probably want to give them a go yourself and see how well they work for you. Also, we have Firefox pre-installed, but you can get whatever browser you prefer from the software manager. This is a really handy way of getting programs installed on here. You can just get everything set up quickly and they just install pretty much like they would on your phone. I got to do just a couple of things on here, like install Discord, which took a bit but not overly long, still faster than going to their site and downloading it manually. I also went on YouTube to make sure video playback at 1080p was smooth, and it really was. We only get a few frame drops if we go into full screen, but then they just disappear in a couple seconds. The system is now good, but keep in mind that even here the laptop is still pretty weak by today's standards. General use is perfectly fine, but don't expect it to all of a sudden be able to run intensive programs or games way better. Something like Stardew Valley works perfectly though. After seeing this, I'm hoping that maybe you might take a look at any old laptops or computers that you have laying around, and maybe get them a new life or offer them to someone who needs them. I hope you enjoyed this video. It is a bit more of a general topic, but I really wanted to give it a go and show how well this works, because I think it is really cool to see such a big difference in performance for not that much work. With this being said, I would encourage you to subscribe if you want to see more videos of me messing around with tech in the future, and until next time, see ya.